We got some Detroit Lions news for you folks today. In this video, we're going to talk about the latest Lions injury, one significant that happened last night. NFL power rankings, where are our beloved Detroit Lions after taking that L? We're going to get into the Lions signing a running back to the 53-man roster, and Aaron Glenn's heat is for real. Let's go. Let's go ahead and start off with the injuries, because these injuries are absolutely significant in impacting the Detroit Lions this week and weeks going on. Taylor Decker is questionable right now. Dan Campbell talked about it, doesn't really have much of an update. So hopefully he can play on Sunday, but it's not looking good. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he hit torn pectoral muscle, looks to be out for the year. Now, maybe he can come back at the end of the year if the Lions make the playoffs. That's a big maybe. I think we all should have our fingers crossed for something like that. Big V right guard, no update. Still questionable. I think he probably doesn't play on Sunday, but Lions are hopeful it's not a severe injury that's going to be long-term, so that's good. David Montgomery looks to be out, still got the bruised thigh. Again, it's a week to week. It's not looking like this guy is going to be a long-term issue, thank God. Antoine Green had a concussion. James Houston out 6 to 8 weeks. Joshua Pascal placed on IR. So the injuries are mounting for our Detroit Lions. Hopefully this Sunday we do not get any more injuries, because if we do, we are in a world of hurt. That's the last thing that the Detroit Lions need, is more of these. It impacts the way we play. It's not good. So fingers crossed for those fellas. Folks, subscribe for Lions news and rumors. Right now I'm at 40,355. I would love to get to 40,400. So some of you guys who's not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free to do so, and it absolutely does help out the channel. Let's get into the power rankings right now. The Lions plummet significantly from last week to this week. Sports Illustrated last week had the Lions 6th best team in the NFL, fall back to the 10th spot. Sporting News had 4th, fall back to the 8th spot. Pro Football Network had the Lions at 7, falling back to the 14th spot. ESPN, not much of a drop here, went from 7th to 8th, so they still feel like the Lions are a good football team. CBS Sports is on crack. They had the Lions 10th and now all the way to the 18th to a non-playoff team. Look, I think that is a little bit overblown. 18th best team in the NFL. Come on, folks. I think the Lions are better than that. And we should really consider who's doing these rankings to give the idea that there's something wrong there. Yahoo Sports, only 7th to 8th, so very similar to ESPN. USA Today from 5th to 9th. And The Athletic from 7th to 13th in the NFL. So generally you're seeing a top 10 football team after the Lions lost to the Seattle Seahawks, and that's kind of still where I have them from 10 to 12. I think that's where they deserve to be. The problem will be, can the Lions manage these injuries? With not having C.J. Gardner-Johnson, can Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch and Tracy Walker hold the fort down to make sure the secondary is good? Taylor Decker, can the Lions' offensive line maintain it? Same with Halapoulivaati Vaitai, Big V. The injuries are going to be a concern, and how long these guys are out. Same with David Montgomery. If you looked and watched the game, when Montgomery was out, boy, it wasn't looking too good for the Lions' offense. They absolutely slowed down, and that's not a good thing. If you look at the Lions' schedule, we get the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. Right now, the Atlanta Falcons are favored to lose that game. The Lions are favored to win that game. The Falcons are said to be losing that game by 4 points. So if the Lions can maintain and able to win on Sunday, we should still have a pretty good shot at the NFC North, because, again, the Green Bay Packers are 1-1. We're tied with them for the first place. Chicago Bears looks like booty cheeks, 0-2. Minnesota Vikings are 0-2. I think they're a little bit better than an 0-2 team, but that's what they are. And the Lions have an opportunity to win the game on Sunday and get back into the winning ways. You can't lose 2 in a row at home. If they lose Sunday, you're going to see these power rankings drop significantly. If they win, I think not a lot of movement will occur, maybe a little bit upward, just because they got where we have them at. I think we have a good idea here. Maybe CBS Sports will do a little movement in the Athletic and Pro Football Network, but the rest, I think it's kind of where the Lions should be, where they have them. And this Sunday's game will be a big test to see what will happen there. So I got a question for you in the comments. Where should the Detroit Lions be ranked in the power rankings? Let me know, folks, in the comments below. Where do you got them ranked? 1, if you think they're the best team in the NFL. 32, if you think they are not that good at all. Let's continue on here. The Detroit Lions signed a player in Zonovan Knight. He was on the practice squad. We've seen him in preseason, but now he is to the Lions' active roster. And what he did last year, he played in 7 games, 85 rushing for 300 yards, 1 touchdown. Really not too bad for the young back here with a 3.5 average. And he's going to be the quote-unquote replacement for David Montgomery until David Montgomery is healthy. And this is the Lions' depth chart right now. You got Montgomery, who's not going to be playing. You got Jahmyr Gibbs, now the RB1 because of Montgomery. You got Craig Reynolds, RB2 because of the injury. And then Zonovan Knight comes in at 3. But I wonder if they use Zonovan Knight a little bit more than Craig Reynolds. That's going to be an interesting part of the game that we're going to watch on this up-and-coming Sunday, because Craig Reynolds had some problems. He couldn't get anything going in the interior run for the Lions on Sunday. So maybe they give Zonovan Knight a chance here to potentially make a little bit of noise in this game. I think we want Jahmyr Gibbs to get the most touches. Absolutely. I think that's so important that he gets the amount of touches. But Dan Campbell said we're going to do by committee, and so maybe we'll see Zonovan Knight get a couple more touches more than Craig Reynolds. It's going to be interesting to watch in this game. It really, really is. I got to talk about Lions while you're here. My guy, Jeff Risdon, you got to check this article out, because I got a lot of people that was ripping on me during the game because I said that the Lions defense was looking bad and not good. Well, Lions wire Jeff Risdon ripped Aaron Glenn a new butthole. He absolutely did. Says Glenn has the mixed things up. He's from Bill Parcells' coaching tree. He was a Pro Bowl cornerback in multiple Parcells defenses. Parcells would have not stand pat and keep failing by trying the same ineffective methods and schemes over and over again. It's time for Glenn to either channel his Hall of Fame coaching mentor or find a different place to coach. You continue on. Campbell has been down this road once before, unfortunately. His initial choice of offensive coordinator, Anthony Lynn, was disastrous back in 2021. Campbell had no choice but to pull the plug on Lynn after the 0-8-1 start. It's getting perilously close to the time for Campbell to make another tough, necessary decision. This time on his defensive coordinator, longtime colleague, Glenn. And you say, Mike, the defense was not that bad. Well, through 2 games, this is the Lions' defense. Points allowed per game, 28.5. That's 28th best in the NFL. Yards allowed per game, 354.5. 22nd best in the NFL. Passing yards per game, 268.5. 26th best in the NFL. Rushing yards per game, 86. Now, that's pretty damn good. 10th in the National Football League. Look, I love Jeff Risdon, and I think everyone should read this article. He makes a point to where this defense is underperforming, and it is. If you look at the numbers right now, we're bottom 3rd in defense. That's unacceptable. We should be, in my opinion, between 16 and 20. But we're in the lower thirds. We're talking 26, 22nd, 28. That's unacceptable. I don't understand how this defense has yet to be unable to be just even a mediocre defense, because right now it's not. Missed tackles, missed assignments, soft coverage, lack of blitzes, players getting owned like Jerry Jacobs. There has to be something to change, because we cannot continue this road by bad defense. Now, I'm not calling for Aaron Glenn to be fired. I'm not doing that. I think that would be a little bit too early for me to do something like this. But if it doesn't change in a couple weeks, and Desmond Ridder on Sunday, who is averaging less than 150 yards passing, gets 250, 300 yards with a couple of touchdowns and makes him look like Joe Montana, we have a problem, folks. And the problem needs to end. Because you're not going to be able to be a playoff contender with this type of defense. You can't beat Dallas. You can't beat Philly. You can't beat 49ers. We couldn't beat Seattle. You have to have a better defense. And if we're making Desmond Ridder look like Joe Montana, there's got to be a change at some point. Something's got to change, because the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting a different result, and that's what's been happening, and we're absolutely tired of it as a fan base. This team needs to be better defensively. We've invested a lot of free agents and draft picks, and we're still not seeing anything of an improvement. It's unacceptable. It really is. Folks, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. We got live watch party on Sunday, live show on Thursday. Subscribe so you don't miss out. With that said, folks, adios.